Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk About House. I'm Todd.
I'm Juana.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about foreign buyers and the fact that they're not buying as many homes as they bought in previous years. Actually, it's like the second lowest year since, I think, 2009. Okay? Now, so it's from an article from Realtor.com. And the title of the article, Home Prices, Inventory Force Foreign Buyers to Retreat. Home prices are basically the same as they were last year, right? 2022, year over year right now, we're roughly the same, right?
Okay.
So why would if they're comparing this to last year, it's not really home prices, is it?
No.
Oh, okay. It's really just one thing, Juana. What's the one thing?
It's the word that we have beaten into the ground.
Inventory,
yeah. There's just nothing to buy.
There's less sales. Right. So this whole thing is, foreign buyers have left. You could create any demo. We've got charts and we've got a bunch of stuff, quotes and stuff to show you. But we're going to show you all this information. You could literally say millennials. Millennials are home prices have stopped them from buying. Or you could pick, boomers, home prices have stopped them from buying, even though they're the largest buying group right now. Whatever. Mm-hmm. Okay. People who are Dallas Cowboys fans, they are not buying because of, Now, this is what the first quote from the article. Mm-hmm. Sharply lower housing inventory in the U.S. and higher borrowing costs across the world have dented international buyers for 2 straight years, says NAR chief economist. However, recovering international travel following the end of the pandemic will bring more foreign transactions in the coming months and years.
So a couple things on that.
Okay.
First of all, foreign buyers, by and large, tend to buy cash, so lending issues are, I think that's a red herring.
It's a red herring. They're just they're just trying to get people spooled up.
Right. The second thing is foreign buyers also are more likely to buy property sight unseen. Again, same kind of story. It's not the travel. It's not that they're much more likely to buy something sight unseen because they're accustomed to that, right? And they're not traveling just to buy a property. They're going to travel for an extended period of time to come to the U.S. They're going to use the home as a vacation home and probably as an investment and maybe even as a rental.
One thing that I thought was interesting is where they talked about international travel and all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to say the 3 words that matter. Pent-up demand.
Yes.
Pent-up demand, whether it's international buyers or whatever. Juana, what's going to happen as soon as we get some inventory? Like as soon as people decide they want to sell their houses?
So I think you're going to have more transactions. I don't think that you're going to have a buildup of inventory. I think you're going to just have more transactions.
Okay. And then how does that affect prices?
So it's interesting. We're going to have more transactions. And so you would think that would actually put downward pressure on housing because now we have more homes to choose from. But I really doubt that because there is so much pent-up demand. I think we're going to be in the same position that we are in now as far as properties that are attractive are going to attract more buyers, and they're more likely to be subject to multiple offers, which will keep prices at the very least consistent, if not increase prices.
2021 was a massive year for total sales.
Right.
A massive year. And home prices were up 18%. Mm-hmm. So you cannot argue that, when 5-6 million houses on the market, that's going to crash the market. Well, there were 5-6 million, there were a lot of sales in 2021. Mm-hmm. And the market conventional wisdom was all those houses would have flooded the market. They got bought up. Supply and demand, that's what we've been talking about the whole time.
Right, but that was a situation where there was still more demand than supply, even though we had a lot of transactions. And that proved to be a situation where we had multiple offers and prices went up. They did not decline, even though we had a lot of transactions and a lot of property on the market.
Now, here's an interesting chart. Median purchase price among foreign and all buyers. Okay, that dark line is foreign buyers. Mm-hmm. The line with the dots is all buyers, and then you see the years below it. One thing that's interesting about this chart is, first of all, Foreign buyers are buying more expensive homes than the average American.
Right.
On average, they are. Actually, every single year they have.
Right.
Not one year have they bought, although it's been pretty close some years.
Well, but so remember, foreign buyers are buying a unique product, right? They're not buying out of necessity. They're buying out of desire. So it's more of a luxury good. So that's part of the reason why they're buying at a higher price point than an end user.
Aren't there still some programs that let these buyers get expedited citizenship?
Right. But I don't think that plays as much of a role in this because the amount of money invested is actually less than that. So they do have programs where if you invest so much money in the U.S., then you get expedited citizenship. And so we do see that happening. However, the level of real estate purchases doesn't necessarily equate to that number.
Okay. The other thing is that, this just shows home prices going up every year from 2015, where median home price was 208, and then it even shows an increase from 2022 to 3, but that's misleading because remember, this is averaging in the end of 2022, where home prices softened a little, and then 2023, they've kind of roared back. So this is what's interesting about this chart is you've got this little seasonality you see in the charts, and everyone jumps on year over year, but this chart pretty much shows the trend of home prices just increasing. Even though we didn't have that ridiculous one, this chart doesn't take that one ridiculous month where prices spiked and try to, make that the benchmark for all things real estate.
Right.
Okay, now this next one is fun. We've done this one on other videos before. This is the following countries making up the most international buyers of real estate 2023 in the U.S. China, 13%, 13.6 billion in purchases. Now, they're a super populous country, right?
Right.
But what's another reason why they're so high?
So they are so high for a number of reasons. One, because like I said, they are populous. Two, because they are the level of affluence is growing faster than it is in other countries.
Okay.
So that's part of what's going on. They also are sending their children here to be educated, so they are purchasing properties for their children. And they are using U.S. properties as a place to store money in order to diversify their portfolio out of China. And then,
so they don't want to hold a bunch of yuan.
Right. And then, of course, they are using the homes, like I said before, they're using them as vacation homes, they're using them as an investment, and they're also using them as rentals.
Mexico kind of surprises people. Whenever people to guess, almost no one says Mexico, but it's 11%.
Right. So Mexico is actually a huge part of our economy in so many different ways.
It's the 51st state.
That's right.
Yeah.
They are they're definitely a part of our economy, and of course, primarily they are in the south and southwest. So they're Texas, Arizona, California, those areas, because obviously proximity to Mexico, and they've got businesses that are complementary, that maybe they're doing business in both countries and that sort of thing. So you see that a lot, and Mexico is so much more than I think people realize. It's a populous country. It has a substantial wealthy class, and it has substantial business owners that do business in the U.S. So you're seeing that in this home purchase number. What's
really interesting is China's 13% of buyers, Mexico's 11%, but China's 13%, even though it's only 2% more, is more than triple the amount of dollars.
Right, but remember, because China's buying in higher dollar markets.
Right, they're buying in the Bay Area so their kid can go to Stanford.
Right.
In Mexico, they have the lowest, like their average purchase price is like super low, right?
Well, I don't know about super low, but it's certainly lower than it is.
200,000 or something?
Right, it's in the 200,000 range. I think it was like 250 or something like that.
Yeah, but median home prices are like 4 something. So.
Right. So, but you're right, because the people from China tend to buy in the Bay Area, they tend to buy in New York, they tend to buy in higher dollar markets.
Okay, Canada 10%. Canadians have always been buying real estate in the U.S. The 52nd state is Canada.
So Canadians tend to buy property in Florida. They tend to buy property in warm weather places because they would like to get away from the cold in the wintertime, and they use these homes as vacation homes and also rental properties.
Okay, India, 7%. Now this is where this gets a little misleading. This data includes people who have recently emigrated.
Very interesting.
Yeah, so what this is, the qualification is that they're not U.S. citizens. Mm-hmm. And India has a huge amount of, first of all, Indian Americans are the highest, they're either the highest or second highest income group in the U.S. Mm-hmm. Asian by ethnicity. Asian Americans, Indian Americans, Caucasian Americans, but Asian and Indian out-earn all other Americans.
Well, and they also have a higher propensity to be business owners.
And college, to go to college and things like that, right?
Education is very important.
Culturally.
Right. So,
okay.
Yes.
It's not, we're not making, we're just saying that's the data.
Right.
That's it. But that's what, and then Colombia, 3%. Colombia is actually a relatively wealthy country.
It is. It is. And there's a lot more in Colombia than
cartels?
than cartels and crime dramas.
Right. Yeah. So, okay. Now, this is the list of the top 5 places they are coming. Florida, 23%. Mm-hmm. That's super popular place. California, 12%. But remember, the California 12% is probably more dollars mm-hmm. than the Florida 23%. Because remember, California median prices there are like $1 million, and median price in Florida aren't that much because a lot of Florida is still pretty cheap. Like Miami's gone up quite a bit, but
Miami still doesn't touch the Bay Area. So
no, it doesn't, even though it's like much better because it's nice weather and not crazy. Texas, 12%. California and Texas are tied for second place. They'll have to have a playoff to see who will win. And Texas, though, that's a lot of probably Mexico buyers too, right?
Right. Yeah. So again, like I said, because they have so much economic activity back and forth, you do see a lot of business owners have homes in Texas.
Over the years, we've had many clients from Mexico. Mm-hmm. And some of the interesting things is that they come to the U.S., they buy real estate. They always happen to be in the U.S. when they're 8.5 months pregnant, so they somehow give birth in the U.S. And then their children always attend college in the U.S., mm-hmm. even though they live in Mexico and they're Mexicans.
Okay, but it's not just Mexico. That happens with a lot of countries.
A lot of countries, especially in the American continent, like Central America.
Well, but it's the same thing with Asian countries too.
Right.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah, in India. North Carolina and Arizona were also tied. They will also have to have a playoff to mm-hmm. see who wins that. And then the winner of those 4 will play Florida for the championship.
There you go.
Okay. So, but North Carolina obviously is Arizona is just Phoenix. If you just took Phoenix out, there's nothing there. The state would actually flip over. Arizona's holding it, and California is also kind of holding it there. But if you took away Phoenix, the thing would flip over. And we have a lot of Phoenix people who watch this. They're going to like that. And then North Carolina is just a ton of colleges, right? Mm-hmm. It's actually a really populous state. There's a lot of people in North Carolina, and they have a whole bunch of really good colleges there. So
they do.
Yeah. Anyway, that was the end. So, Wanda, my big takeaway from this whole thing was that it's the number of sales that are down because there's no inventory, and all the people, a lot of people who come on the channel don't even watch our videos because I can tell by as soon as they put a comment in, I was like, you didn't watch the video. All you did was you saw the name of it and you went and typed a comment. But that the number of sales is down because there's not enough inventory, not because of all these other ancillary reasons.
Well, the other thing that it is misleading, the number of sales is down, but remember where they're counting the sales is MLS sales, and there are so many sales that are happening off the MLS, and those are not aggregated into these numbers. It used to be that those sales were very few, so they were not, they wouldn't really sway the numbers substantially. But my argument is that there are more and more off MLS sales, and that if those were counted in, the numbers might look different. And I think that's something interesting. I don't know of a way to track that data because of the way things work in most states. I think that's very difficult to track. But anecdotally, here in Las Vegas, we're seeing a lot of MLS, a lot of off MLS sales happening, and I would say that if those were aggregated in, I think you would have the number of transactions obviously increase. Mm-hmm. But I think you'd have the price point increase more than what you're seeing.
Yeah.
I think that's an interesting anecdotal thing to consider. So if you are out there and you are a real estate agent, leave us a comment and tell us what's going on in your market as far as off MLS sales.
Have you done one in the last year?
Yeah. What are you seeing? Because we're seeing a lot here.
Well, we had somebody in the comments put that an agent slid a thing under the door saying, I have a buyer, and they just made a deal happen. And that wasn't MLS. That was just, they did it.
Right. So we know that it's happening here. We know it's happening in other markets because, we have heard from you guys. But specifically, if you've heard of something like that happening in your market, let us know.
Last thing is I want you to talk to them about when the sales come back and then pent-up demand. Because those are two things we don't know. How fast the sales will come back, more new listings, and then how much pent-up demand will eat that. Like, what do you think? Well, like, what's your gut feeling tell you?
My gut feeling is that there are so many people sitting on the sidelines waiting for the right house to come along because what's out there is either not the right place or out of their budget, that when the right place comes along, and if it's even remotely close to their budget, I think they're going to snap it up. I don't see inventory building really anytime soon. I think we're going to have a lot of homes come on the market for inventory to actually build. I think the number of transactions will increase, but I don't see the inventory building substantially. Obviously, real estate is hyper-local, so it could be different in your market, but I don't see that in Vegas. I see a lot of demand, and I think we're seeing that across the country. We're hearing that from other agents across the country. Tell us what you think. What do you think is going to happen in your market? We're interested in what you're seeing because we know that when you're in a market, you're much more attuned to what's happening than when you're just like us watching numbers in a market. So we appreciate your comments and your insights. We do read them and we appreciate them. Mm-hmm. Please remember to like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share the video, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.
Bye.